Here's a special tributes to one of gospel's greatest singing sensations, out of Detroit, Michigan, the Evereadys.
Don't treat me like they used to. And since I lay my burdens down.
If you define melodious, charismatic, soulful, captivating, richness in sound, style, and technique, the Evereadys would definitely fit those descriptions perfectly. In recent years, the term living legend has been tossed around a lot without much thought as to whether the said artist really is legendary, but the Evereadys are true living legends. For over 40 years, their sound and style has been a hallowed tune on the quartet black gospel circuit. Although Learning to Lean is their signature song, they are also known for the evergreen song So Real, If I Had a Chance and I'll Go. After several personnel changes, broken promises and industry politics caused the group to lay dormant for more than a decade. The Evereadys' history dates back to 1950, when future rhythm and blues icon Jackie Wilson, Lonely Teardrops, Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher, Lorenzo Jordan, Emmanuel Jordan and bass singer Jack Johns formed the Evereadys in Detroit, Michigan, as an a cappella quartet. They performed regularly in the Midwest, but disbanded when Wilson left to join the R&B outfits, the Thrillers and then the Royals, before hitting it big with Billy Ward and the Dominoes. Almost 2 decades later, the Jordan sisters started pushing her sons, Jerome and Freddie Williams, to start singing, but Jerome was primarily interested in playing drums and football. I didn't want to sing unless I did big band music, Williams recalls. I listened to Buddy Rich, Sarah Vaughan, Sammy Davis Jr. and those types of people. But my mom persuaded us to sing. His grandmother then suggested that they pick up the Evereadys name, but Jerome was against that. I wanted something else, he laughs. But Grandma won out. With that, the Williams brothers and their cousins, Lorenzo and Gregory Jordan, relaunched the Evereadys in 1967.
Lovely as the spring and fall. But remember, love is the greatest gift of all.
On many Sunday mornings, the group could be found at Detroit's WCHB radio station, where the gospel announcer Bertha Harris would allow them to sing live. Through this contact, they began to get concert gigs with artists such as the Sensational Nightingales and the Consolers. Both groups took them under their wings and kept them working. Still, Williams remembers that a lot of groups would say, "We're not singing if the Evereadys are gonna be on the bill." We would steal the show, but because they were the headliners and people were paying to see them, sometimes the promoters would take us off the show. They would perform out of town on the weekends and then rush back home in time for school on Monday morning.
When you're down and out and you can't see your way, just remember.
As much as they loved singing, it wasn't always fun for the Evereadys. I can recall being on the side of the road and hungry with all the tires blown out the van, and not knowing where we were gonna go or how we were gonna get there, Williams says. But God always made a way. Every time we'd call home, we'd say we were doing really good. But we wanted to say, "Mama, please send us some money because I'm so hungry." But if I had said that, she would have made us come home. But they had a few angels watching over them, such as William C. Hall, who managed Robert Blair and the fantastic violin airs. He was like a father to us, Williams says. He booked us across this country with no record in the stores. He just sold everybody on the idea that we could sing. He would book our programs like when Shirley Caesar and all of them were performing, and he'd get us on the programs, and they'd take a collection for us.
I never felt your light.
Jerome Williams in 1969 was such a fan of the fantastic violin airs that many fans thought the Evereadys sounded like them. They were doing an appreciation concert for the Harmonizing Four. Williams reminisces. Their whole group had quit, except for the 3 original members, and someone suggested to them, "Why don't you get the Evereadys to play with you?" Violin Air's leader, Robert Blair, came to them and asked if they knew his group's material. "I said not only can I play it, but I can play all the mistakes you made on the record," and he laughed. Williams says. The Evereadys became the Violin Airs for the next 2 years, and recorded the album presenting the new Violin Airs. But it was the Evereadys. We would do the programs with them during the day, but at night we'd come together and rehearse the Evereadys material, says Williams. In 1972, the group started to itch to make it in the R&B world. They were out in Los Angeles pondering their next move when they met a woman who arranged a meeting with the Jackson 5's producer, Hal Davis, at Motown Records. "I took my acoustic guitar and sang all original stuff, and he was so impressed. He was like, 'Wow, I really like you guys.'" Williams says, "I want to fly you down to Vegas and let you see the Supremes show. I'm going to get you a house and groom you, and blah blah blah." Then Williams recalled a preacher prophesying to his mother when he was a child that he had a vocal gift, and that if ever used it for anything other than to glorify God, that God might take his voice. "I never forgot that," he says. "So I started to get the jitters and backed out of the Motown deal."
My God, He's calling for Christians like me and you. He's calling for people like me and you.
The other members of the group blamed Williams for them missing their golden chance at stardom with Motown, and the group eventually broke up. Williams got married and left the business for a while. Then, he started to miss singing and reorganized the Evereadys circa 1980, with 4 sets of brothers, including his own brother Marvin, Aaron Beasley, Marvin Reed, and Charles and Kenny Porter. While the group was performing on a bill with the Jackson Southern Airs and the Mighty Clouds of Joy in Saginaw, Michigan, opportunity knocked. Frank and Huey Williams of the Southern Airs came to us and asked us if we were on a record label. Williams recalls. Frank Williams, who was also an executive with Malaco Records, persuaded them to join the label's roster in 1981. "They kept us down there for a week," Jerome Williams says. "We signed a contract that Monday, started recording that Tuesday, and were out of there by the weekend."
Keep holding on. Sometimes when you see people turn you around, that don't mean you gotta wear a frown. What they say might make you mad, but
The recording process was informal and relaxed. Frank Williams wrote the Outlaw's Prayer song while we were sitting there in the studio, basically. Marvin Reed recalls. "As a matter of fact, Jerome did it in one take." The Jackson Southern Airs had a song called Teddy Bear that was really popular at that time. So Frank said, "We got to get you a teddy bear type of song." So he just sat down and wrote it on the spot. Jerome went in the studio with it, read it and ad-libbed a little with it, and that was it. That song, If I Had a Chance, and a new arrangement of the Blackwood Brothers. Learning to Lean were the radio highlights of the quartet's debut Malaco Records LP, Learning to Lean. It didn't get any kind of airplay at all until this DJ named Little John, that used to be in Rochester, New York, came home one evening, and his daughter was playing this record. He said, "Who is that?" She said, "The Evereadys." So everywhere he put the record player needle, he liked what he heard. So he started playing the music on his show. Then it started to spread, and it was getting played all over the place.
I'm learning to lean, learning to lean.
then toured with artists such as Reverend F.C. Barnes and Janice Brown, who were enjoying rousing success with Rough Side of the Mountain at the time, and became superstars on the quartet circuit. They followed up with the LPS Revive 1981, Learning to Lean in 1982. Just Think of His Goodness, 1983, which all three charted on Billboard magazine's Gospel Albums chart.
Thank God I'm not crying no more. He has made me glad. I want the world to know that I've been revived.
In 1987, the Evereadys began to collaborate with a former Motown recording engineer, John Lewis. They recorded an album with him at Detroit's prestigious Sound Suite recording studio. But the project, A Message for You, sat on the shelf until Great Joy Records released it in 1992. The collection was the group's biggest chart success thus far. It spent 37 weeks on the Billboard Gospel Album Sales chart and peaked at number 14 on the survey.
Not knowing what each day will bring, for we cannot see the future. This is why on your word I'll always stand and leave my life in your command, for you're the only one.
Even though the Evereadys did not record for 13 years, they never stopped singing. Williams then worked with the music ministry at Pastor Marvin Winans' Perfecting Church in Detroit, and also served as musical accompaniment on many of Winans' speaking engagements. But by 2000, Williams began to hunger to sing again. He prayed to God that if it was meant for him to sing again, that something so incredible will happen that I can't deny it. It took 5 years. But the incredible something that happened was that Joe Horn, a wide receiver with the New Orleans Saints, was a big fan.
Want to see what are they still making weapons for? So many leaders are being uncovered for the wrong that they've done in the dark.
When Horn found out that the group was alive and well, he invited them to be the first artist on his For Life Miracle Records label. Horn felt the group had never gotten their just rewards in the music business, and gave them free range to record the kind of album they wanted to make. The new project features a dozen songs ranging from country to urban contemporary stylings. There's a lot of people who are still in our corner, who still play our music, says Williams. A lot of them are still playing Learning to Lean. So, I said this CD is gonna be for my friends. Everybody that liked anything about the Evereadys, this is for you.
Every day I look around, brand new mercies I see. You keep on blessing me, blessing me. Every day I see a brand new mercy shining down on me. You keep on blessing me.
The Evereadys wasn't done yet. While never recording a live project, Errol Luster produced Finally Live, CD and DVD, which was released on Malaco 4 Winds subsidiary in 2014. It featured the Evereadys singing Learning to Lean, as well as classic hymns and quartet staples, such as I Stood on the Banks of Jordan, Come to Jesus and Farther Along. In its 7th decade, the 5-man group remains active, releasing a new version of Learning to Lean for First Choice Gospel Records in March 2018.
Well, hey, yo, Jerome. We gotta go. All right, wait a minute. Well, what I was trying to say. Excuse me, Jerome. Gotta go. Okay. What I was trying to say. Before I was interrupted. Listen. Hey, Jerome. Yeah. You're taking too long. Wait a minute. Well, listen. Got a lot of things that I want to say, but people are gotta go. But don't you know? I gotta go. Yeah, got a lot of things that I want to say, but people are gotta go. Yeah, don't you know? I gotta
Over the years, the quartet world loved and enjoyed the music ministry of the Evereadys, but just like everything else, time brings about a change. In 2007, God called home longtime member Aaron Beasley. Though the loss was devastating to the group, they continued to travel. Then again in 2020, the group received a devastating blow with the loss of group's anchor and lead singer, Jerome Williams. The group as of 2023 is no longer singing, but no matter what changes occurred, the Evereadys is without a doubt a legend in gospel music.
I believe